Welcome back, everybody, to the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, S. Richard, author of the book Man at 50, A Journey of Crisis, Revelation, and Survival. So let's get started on the Man at 50 podcast, a podcast that is for you, your little person within you, your hopes, your dreams, and hopefully a new plan for the future. Welcome back, everybody, to the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard, and today we are joined by a lady. Her name is Karenskarra, and she is a survivor of a traumatic brain injury, and she is joining us today. Let me bring her into the room, and she should be here shortly. And I think, there we go. Hi, Karen, are you with us?
Yeah.
Hey, nice to have you here. Welcome to the Man at 50 podcast. We are glad that you're here. I just kind of did a little intro. You are a survivor of a traumatic brain injury, and you're here today to talk about how that affected your life, the people around you, the other people that you met during your healing process and during your hospitalization. Um, your traumatic brain injury was caused by an accident. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the accident, what happened, and then, of course, what happened afterwards. You did provide some pictures. We're going to put up some pictures of the accident today for the YouTube viewers to look at. If you're listening to the audio portion of the podcast, you'll need to go over to YouTube and check out the video portion so you can see the graphics that we're going to put up. But tell us a little bit about the accident and the aftermath. And you know, I can't even imagine. I've seen the pictures of the car, and it must have been a really bad accident. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I actually have no memory of my accident because, well, I got a brain injury from that, so kind of self-explanatory, but sure. So basically what I've been told what happened is I knocked out the power in Par Spruce Grove by running into a one of those tall wooden power poles in the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
And so that knocked the power out, and then that triggered someone to come and look and see what the problem was, and then they found me. But what the police figured from the tire marks, everything else that happened, is that there might have been an animal or something on the road. So there were tire marks that were like skidding straight on, and then then I veered right. And what they think happened was I was veering right, or sliding right or something like that into the ditch. And then when I was about to start flipping, is when I flipped my car into the power pole and I knocked it in half, like those big ass wooden power poles.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there were what do you call those things? The lines and whatnot. They were dangling above me, and they needed the jaws of life to get me out. And Star's helicopter came and got me because my brain was swelling too much. There was too much blood that was like pooling in my brain, and yeah,
Oh,
they needed to
wow.
get me to the U of A hospital immediately. And then after
Oh,
that, I spent 2 months in the hospital and one year and a half with outpatient therapy as well.
wow. Was there anybody else in the car, or was it just you?
It was just me. Yeah,
Oh,
and I know there was no alcohol or drugs or anything like that that were part of it. I was very sober. And yeah, I was just headed to a party, and it was after work, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
wow. Yeah. So it was just you and a power pole. There was no other vehicles involved in it.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
told that if there was someone in the vehicle that they should have been dead instantly. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Oh,
Right?
wow. That's just incredible. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. What I'm going to do is we're going to just to let people, take a look at, let me see if I can go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to share the photos here that you've provided. Um, folks, just look at these pictures, and it's a absolute divine intervention that you survived it. You you
They're
did,
pretty gnarly, aren't they?
yeah, you did receive a traumatic brain injury from this accident, and but you survived it, and now um, wow, you're helping other people, and you're thriving, and you're doing some great stuff. So let me try to
Should I
share.
explain my injuries too? I forgot.
Yeah, sure. If you want to do that, and then we'll show the pictures. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah. So my spine was fractured. I had bleeding and bruising in my brain, a moderate slash severe traumatic brain injury, and 3 severed skull fractures.
Wow, that's
I know how to get her done.
yeah. I mean, that's like that's just amazing. I think the most dramatic thing that I've ever had from a medical standpoint was an appendicitis. And yeah, it was ruptured for 3 days. I was in the
Oof.
hospital for a month with appendicitis.
Yeah.
And that's, I can't even imagine that kind of, uh, that kind of trauma to the body and, and to the mind. And now, how long were you in the hospital for? I know you did a lot of outpatient, but how long were you actually in the hospital
I was in the hospital for as an inpatient, and I was there for 2 months. So 1 month or a little bit over a month was at the University of Alberta Hospital, and then the rest of it was at the Glen Rose Hospital, where I got actual like treatment and therapy and whatnot. And they they work you to the bone.
wow, that's just incredible. Well, I know that you are working, you're on a mission to help other people with traumatic brain injury and other people with as far as mental health challenges and things of that nature. And we're going to get into that in the second part of the podcast, but we want to talk about you and let the listeners or viewers just kind of experience what you went through.
Okay.
And it'll definitely have more of an impact when they see some of the great stuff that you're doing. So let me see
Nice.
if I can share my screen. Len, let's look at these photos together here. So we're gonna go share screen, and then we're gonna hopefully, um, yeah, make it work.
Okay.
So just let me know, Karen. Can you see the pictures of your car?
I cannot see anything right now.
Okay. It may take just a second for them to come up.
Yeah.
There's the picture here that I just started sharing the screen.
Thanks for sharing those.
Oh, you bet. And hopefully, I mean, like I said, if you're listening to the podcast on Anchor FM to be able to see the photos that Karen provided, and we have another graphic that we're going to put up in the second part of the podcast. Just head over to my YouTube channel, and the video will be there, and you can see um, the graphics there. So I know
Mm.
people listening to the podcast is like, I can't see nothing, and it's like, yes, because it's a podcast, but that's why I got the YouTube channel as well. So yeah, those pictures are incredible. Now you were telling me that let me go ahead and clear that out. Just bear with me a second. Okay, cool. Um, you were telling me that now when you were in the hospital that you met a lot of just incredible people. Can you
Mm.
tell me, the listeners, the viewers, about the people that you met and just the atmosphere of the hospital that you were in, and I think you used a phrase, the walking wounded. So if
Yes.
you can kind of address that a little bit, and kind of get into that a little bit, after the accident, and what you experienced with other people that you met that had similar injuries to
Okay.
what you got.
Yeah. Well. Shoot. Train of thought.
That's okay.
But yeah, what I can say is that I've met some like incredible people at Glen Rose Hospital, because that's where I did my outpatient therapy through, and physio, etc. And with my neurologist too was also outside of Glen Rose. But yeah, the people I met, I've become very close to, and I consider them very good friends. And yeah, they're probably 20 or sometimes 30 years older than me, but that's okay. They are still really cool people, and we share a lot of similar struggles, like with our memory loss, problem solving, emotions, just our personality change. And there's this one, it's called the walking wounded, and I learned that term through the hospital, and what that means is, oh shoot, where'd my memory? Oh shoot. I
That's
was
okay.
talking about the walking wounded, right?
The
Yeah, so
the walking
basically,
wounded.
yeah. So the walking wounded is basically an internal injury. So you cannot see that someone has that injury. So it's basically they're walking around and it's someone who looks like they're fine, but they really aren't. And it's just like having a mental illness too. It's just like you look like you're fine, but you're not. And that is, you'd think that'd be a bonus, but really it's actually rather frustrating, because people belittle you. People will assume that you're ready to go back to work and this and that, and why are you lying about your injury, things like that. And it's like, no, this is actually what happened. And so I carry around the pictures on my phone of my accident. That way they can just leave me alone and
Mm-hmm.
just say like, oh, okay, now, yeah. But anyway, sorry, sidetracked.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was. You said that there was so many people that you came into that you connected with that I mean they had to relearn a lot of different things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and tell us a little bit about that as far as I mean there was some rehabilitation obviously and a lot of different physical therapy and um, and things of that nature. So, what was some of the things that you had to go through in the rehabilitation process to come back from something so horrific like that? I can't imagine, but that's it. It you're obviously a super strong person to come back from that. So
Thanks.
that's and now you're helping other people and you're reaching out and wanting to kind of make the world aware that when you encounter someone, not everybody, um, you don't know their story and you don't know
Exactly.
what has
Yeah.
happened in their life, and not everything is on the outside.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of people that we encounter on a day-to-day basis that are wounded internally in their mind
Hmm.
and and the challenges that they have within themselves inside, and that's something that we just have to be more consciously aware of. So
Yeah.
um, just kind of let everyone know what was your rehabilitation process and what things did you kind of learn, what did you gain from that experience
Okay.
in rehabilitating.
Uh, well, I've seen several health specialists. So I've seen like a physiatrist, I've seen a psychologist, neurologist, physiotherapist, um, acupuncturist, who else? Occupational therapist, and some just regular, I don't know, how do I word that? But just some people who were teaching classes at Glen Rose, and they were like a reading group, memory group, problem solving group, and there was several others too, but those are the ones that I remember right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are some of the things that I went through and did. And one thing that say that I found rather frustrating when I was in the group is that my level of pain, and I had to, unfortunately, when it came to reading group one, there was this one facilitator who I didn't quite get along with, but that's bound to happen. But I was in a lot of pain, so I looked like I was just depressed. So she was just trying to ask me, like, do you even want to be here? I'm like, I do, but I don't, yeah. But, oh crap, I keep doing that. I keep going off track. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
What were we
I
talking about?
I I haven't been through what you've been through, and I do that all the time. So, um, but as far as you didn't get along with this one facilitator in the rehabilitation process. Was she questioning your progress or your
Yeah, she
willingness
was.
to make stuff work or to get better?
Yeah, it was rather frustrating because everybody who was there at at the reading group and whatnot, we I don't know have like there's some people who've been in motorcycle accidents, people who've had strokes or get tumors, and or people who've been in car accidents and stuff like that. And I've even met one guy who was assaulted by a guy with a baseball bat, and his skull was like, oh, it's gnarly, but okay. Anyways, sorry,
Wow.
but yeah. So oh shoot, sorry, my memory sucks.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, the reading group. Yeah, we just you'd think that being like in that whole group that she would understand that not to judge a book by its cover,
Hmm.
making it seem like my progress was further along than she thought. But when you look around the entire group, I'm just in the same boat as everybody else. So I don't
Right.
know. Maybe we just set each other off. I don't know. But well, nice
Hmm.
lady though. But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But she didn't have the understanding. She didn't have the relatability to your injuries and other people's injuries. And something that a saying that I've used throughout my life is the essence of understanding is experience.
I'm not sure I
If
follow.
the essence of truly understanding something is experience, i.e.,
Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense.
meaning if you haven't experienced something for yourself personally,
Hmm.
it's almost impossible to have a full, complete understanding. So
Yeah,
to gain,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
to gain total understanding, walk the walk, and you have to have experience that to really truly understand it. And she
Mm.
might, I mean, obviously, she didn't have that. She didn't have the full experience, so her understanding might have been, a little bit questionable.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but can't expect everybody to be understanding those. So that's okay.
well, right, right. I think people that went through traumatic situations like you have, the best that they can do is probably reach out to help people who have also through those similar situations because they've experienced it, they can relate to it, and
Mm.
they've done that. I think that's crucial. I don't have any concept of how someone went through that particular traumatic event in their life because I can't relate to it. It's pretty difficult. I mean, from a psychological standpoint. We talked about a few questions, and before we go break and before we have a short little commercial break, I wanted to
Mm.
just a couple questions here, and I need some coffee because I'm losing voice. Let me ask you this: what message do you want to give to others who have had what is if you had one message, what would it be to other people that have experienced traumatic injuries?
Ultimately, is patience. It's it's gonna be a long road, but if you put out those positive vibes, put out positive energy, you will get. I don't know. What you feel you deserve in the end. Like, shoot, I'm not sure how to explain it properly, but yeah, it's basically just keep working hard, and it'll you'll you'll get what you want.
Hmm.
You just gotta really bust your butt for it.
Yeah, work a little harder than everyone else,
Exactly.
but the finish line is there
Yes.
for sure. Cool. Okay. Here's another question. After traumatic injury, what is the number one thing that they can do to help themselves?
Okay. Again, patience. A lot of it is just try and really watch yourself and like be self aware. So the biggest thing to do is like if you're trying to work on your anger, anxiety, anything like that, just watch yourself. Or if you have depression, watch yourself. Meaning that if you I don't know, trying to work on something, just ultimately try and see how you react to a certain situation that would trigger you to be depressed, angry, anxious, etc. And just try and really watch yourself so that way you can ultimately, in the end, improve. I hope that makes sense.
Oh no. So being being patient with yourself and giving yourself permission to fail and restart.
That's it, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I just kind of I mean, that's just how I heard it, so I just kind of wanted to read it back to you. And so, okay, cool. Let's see. And then the last thing I wanted to cover for this section would be what can other people do to help people that have had traumatic brain injuries or any other mental health issue? And what should we all do that people haven't experienced that? What can we do to?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Ultimately, is that saying like just don't assume, like it'll make an ass of you and me, right?
Mhm.
So only if you have heard that someone is going through an experience, or even if you just run into someone on the street, just simply smiling too will just make someone's day. It could be a life and death, right? Like, as in, not to make it sound so dramatic, but seriously, it's the truth.
Right.
And so if someone says they has an injury or going through something, just don't make assumptions and actually learn to listen. And just then you will learn so much more by doing that.
Yes, we could all listen more and talk less. Yeah, I from a guy that, I mean, if I couldn't talk, I don't know what I would do, right? I mean, I have a podcast and I'm a speaker and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's good stuff. We talked, before we went on, and we've talked a couple days earlier. Um, I mean, the traumatic brain injury. Um, there's been a lot of people that have experienced that, um, and it kind of goes along with the PTSD and bipolar and schizophrenia, and there's a multitude of different mental health issues that are out there and that people are dealing with every day. Yours was something that occurred because of a life circumstance. It wasn't something that you were born with,
No.
or that type of thing. So it was something that happened to you, and the most incredible aspect for me in hearing your story is that you're moving on, you're continuing to build your mind. You are you're also part of a group that I'm a part of, the Blue Talks group. Um, and when they had the Amplify Your Message virtual event, we both were members and we both attended that event. So I can see that you're continuing to improve your thinking and get your message out there. And I think that's awesome. You're not allowing what happened to you to define your direction and your future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And kudos. If I had a if I had a cheer button, I'd hit the cheer button, but I don't have that. So so that's just amazing. When we come back, we're fixing to take a short sponsor break, and when we come back with the second part, uh, we're gonna talk about a program or a system that you have developed or that you used yourself, and you're helping other people
Mhm.
use the system that you have put together to help them in their reading comprehension and to strengthen their mind and to help them begin to think stronger and more clearer. and
Mhm.
and a lot, it's like going to the gym with your brain. It's like a brain gym. So it's an exercise, and it's a program that you put together. So when we come back from the break, we're going to cover that. We do have a graphic that we're going to put up so people can visually see it, and then we'll have you kind of walk through the acronym and explain what each of the letters mean. I think it's a really cool system, and so we'll do that when we come back. So just stay with me. This is the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard, and we have been talking with Karenskarra. Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
cool. And she is a survivor of a traumatic brain injury that occurred when she was in a horrific accident. And she is with us alive and well and doing great things. And she's with us today on the podcast. We did show some pictures. If you're tuning in towards the end of the first part of the podcast, just you can head over to the YouTube channel and check out the photos. We did show some pictures of the car after the accident, so you can check that out. We're going to take a short sponsor break, and when we get back, we're going to get into part two with Karen Skarra, and we're going to talk about a system that she's developed to help other people with their reading comprehension and helping them exercise and making their brain stronger and making them happier people. So we'll be right back after this sponsor break, and hang in there. Welcome our new sponsor to the Man at 50 podcast, Scars and Stripes Coffee Company. They empower veterans to build their own business using their e-commerce platform. When you purchase from Scars and Stripes Coffee, you are buying from a veteran, and your purchase directly impacts the men and women who have served our country. Do more than say, thank you for your service. Order today and empower a veteran. Use vet code RICHARD at scarsandstripescoffee.com. That's scarsandstripescoffee.com. I want to welcome our latest sponsor to the Man at 50 podcast. The company's name is Pure Green, and they are one of the fastest growing juice and smoothie bar franchises in the U.S. They are taking on health straight on with some fantastic, healthy, delicious products. So I would encourage you to check them out at puregreen.com. That's puregreen.com. And I am very happy to be associated with the Pure Green family, and very happy that they are a sponsor of the show. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to the Man at 50 podcast. We are back for part two of our interview with Karen Skarra. She has survived a unbelievable car accident, which she got a traumatic brain injury from the car accident, and she has fully recovered, and now she is telling her story in hopes of it helping other people that have gone through similar events in their lives or that have traumatic brain injuries, and they're trying to deal with that. And it makes life a lot harder, obviously, to deal with that than the rest of us. So when we went to break, we were talking about a system or a program that you have kind of created and that you've reworked it and put it together for people that are having a hard time with reading comprehension, maybe foggy thinking, and trying to get their brain to engage and work faster and better. And so the program that you developed, tell me a little bit about the acronym for the program is PQRST. Is that correct? Okay. It's the alphabet, people, starting with P and ending in T. So PQRST, I had to read those letters a few times and I went, oh yeah, okay, got it. I got it, it's the alphabet. But each of those letters are important because they have a meaning. So, and also, well, let me back up. If you can talk about we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put the graphic up for the program. And then if you can talk about what each letter means and how it's utilized in reading comprehension and helping the mind get stronger. So
okay.
I'm gonna go ahead.
First, I should say too that it's not something that I completely developed myself. It's one that was already out there, and I decided to tweak it and make it my own. And then voila.
Voila. Now this is something that you used yourself, though.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you told me that now this system or this way of exercising the mind, it's being used on the military bases up in Canada. Can you talk a little bit more? Can you talk a little bit more about that, or how did that happen?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I forget how many years ago it was since I started it, but basically I was seeing a speech pathologist at Glenrose Hospital, and she taught me this technique. It's called PQRST, and I'll get into what the letters mean. But basically, it helps with reading comprehension, and I found out that this method is being also taught in universities too, but people are paying through the nose to get it. So I figured, why not try to make it free? So then also my mom, she works on a military base, and she runs into people or military members who have struggled with traumatic brain injuries in school, or learning the official language is very difficult for them. And so I figured I would try and tweak this PQRST tool into my own. That way they would be able to understand it. That way they would be able to utilize it. And so I gave it to my mom, and then she helped spread it across Canada onto military bases. So now if they are anybody who's struggling with a brain injury or not, and they want to improve their reading comprehension, all they have to do is ask for this tool, and they will hopefully find it useful in helping them learn a different language.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, let me go ahead and pull up. I'm going to pull up the graphic, and then you can go through the different letters and what they mean.
Okay.
So it's right here, and let me know if you're seeing the graphic.
Okay. I'm just gonna have to wait a couple minutes, maybe. But yeah, there's two different versions though. There's PQRST for articles, and there's PQRST for textbooks. And the one for textbooks is virtually the exact same thing, but I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay. Are you seeing the graphic?
Yes. Yeah. Now I am.
Okay.
All right.
PQRST, and those letters stand for those items. Reading made easy. Um, so if you want to just start with the first letter, start with P, and I'll let you just kind of run with it and explain to to the folks what each of those letters mean and how it's used um,
Mm,
in helping the brain.
okay.
Okay, at this point we had some audio difficulties, and we went ahead and started to explain the PQRST program and the difference between articles and textbook. And Karen did cover the steps with each letter and what you do with each letter of the acronym. So just follow along, and you can always contact me or Karen if you want some clarification. Okay, cool beans. All right, we're back there. But now you actually use this to kind of retrain and relearn. I mean, did you have to learn like writing skills, alphabet, numbers? I mean, what type of relearning did you have to go through, after the accident? I mean, did you remember, anything, any thinking skills at all, or was it like starting from scratch?
In some ways it felt like starting from scratch, but at the same time too, it felt like it was always there, but I just had to try and unlock it somehow. So there was parts where with walking, I felt like I needed to really learn how to do that. Same thing with numbers, my writing skills, and same thing with my drawing skills too. Like just a lot of it was just like I knew it was there. I just had to really try and, I don't know, unlock it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And this, I mean, this really did help you with that.
It did. It's really saved my ass when it came down to trying to learn a little or read an article or anything like that. It really helped me out. But yeah, I don't know. I personally, I really recommend it. It's a very helpful tool. Oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to say, when you're going into the Q part of it, you're not supposed to go and look back at the article. You're supposed to just memorize what you skimmed over and then move on to the R part. So that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So that way it's more improving your ability to remember what you just read.
Right. Okay. So
Mm.
so don't cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat. No.
Don't cheat. Okay. Just yeah, ask the question, and yeah, I would be tempted to go back. I would
Mm,
be tempted to go back and preview and do the preview thing a little deeper. But yeah, that's just
yeah.
me. But um, okay, cool. Let me go ahead, and we have a few last questions here. And then if listeners and viewers want to reach out to you, if they or someone that they know has had a traumatic brain injury, or they may have PTSD or other challenges from a mental health standpoint. If they want
Mm,
to reach out to you, we're going to put your contact information and ways that people can reach out to you um, in the show notes, so they can
okay.
find that information in the show notes. But I do have a few questions here in the last part of our interview. I'm I know that the listeners and the viewers, I mean, they're going to find this very beneficial. Um, even if even if you don't have a traumatic brain injury, or if you don't struggle with any kind of mental illness issues, or mental health issues, we all know, or we have encountered, or will encounter someone that does. And so it's I think it's great information. Your story is inspirational, um, and you are reaching out and you want to help other people, and you're becoming stronger every day. So, and that in and of itself is just it's amazing. I'm glad to have you on the podcast. And I'm an advocate for people's little people, our little me's, and I think you're taking care of your little Karen. You're taking care of her, and you're taking care of your adult person, and you're kind of you had to kind of go back to being a little girl, probably. Did you feel like you were a little kid, um, like right after the accident? Were you like a little kid learning new stuff for the first
Oh
time?
yeah,
Okay,
big time. Hmm.
so
Yeah, I
you.
remember my mom talking to the doctors, and my mom told me that, yeah, you know what, your brain, Karen, is basically like a sponge right now, and that everything that you learn is going to be creating new pathways, or basically like anything that I do right now is yeah, like I said, just creating for trying to, like, I could essentially learn or create a new brain for myself. So being hit hard on the head, it's created this ultimate opportunity that, yeah, you know what, maybe I could be this great pianist or something like that,
Mhm.
or I don't know, I just gotta actually put in the time and when sorry, the time effort, and then I'd achieve it.
Well, when I look at your situation and look at what you went through, for me, and maybe listeners and viewers out there relate to my train of thought here, is you kind of had to go back to when you were a child, and then you kind of had to restart a lot of things and relearn a lot of things, and even though you were an adult, you kind of had to step back into relearning stuff, and it's like I've already learned this once, I relearn it a second time, um,
Pretty much, yeah.
but it's made you a stronger adult, because you got the opportunity. If you look at it from a positive standpoint, you got the opportunity to learn twice, and so
Exactly.
that the learning is more embedded, and so that's the silver lining, I guess. That you have mind that you had before, and now with people, which you may have done that before the accident, or you may not have, but at least now Um, do you feel like you were kind of directed into helping other people? Because I get that you were really interested in getting the message out
Mhm.
about brain injuries and mental health challenges. And you feel like that's really what you want to do moving forward? Because you're what, 25?
Yep.
Okay, so you have a long life ahead of you. Um, I'm 56, so I got times too, but
That's fantastic.
oh, thanks. But appreciate that. But you have a lot of years ahead of you, and that kind of goes into a couple of my last questions here. Um, what are your plans for the future? Other than helping other people, learn and make their minds, stronger. And where would you like to go with what you came through and survived?
Okay. Well, I'd really like to just going on this path and just seeing if I could have that program implemented to like military bases and across like the United States and across the world. But ultimately, I have like so many other like ideas that I really want to push forward, but I just don't have the connections for. But yeah, I'd like to, I don't know, run some businesses in the future and have my own book and really just try and send a message out there about the walking wounded and also just about how it's okay to quit on yourself and but just to keep getting back up.
Yeah, staying down is a bad idea.
Mm.
You know.
Well, I've learned that it's actually taught me a lot quitting, but at the same time too, it's taught me how to get back up. If that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Um, I think your message, I mean, obviously it needs to get out there. There's tens of thousands of people that have been where you have been. They may not be in a place as good as you are. Um, they may be in a pity party. They may be in
Mm.
just self-absorbed in their pain and why did this happen to me? And they may not be in a strong place, they may not be coming from a perspective of I'm ready to help other people,
Yeah, yeah.
get through this. So that's where you come in, and that's where you can show them an example. And that is super cool. Where can the listener and viewers, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you, to talk about maybe their mental health issues that they're having, or if they have a loved one that has some issues? Um, what's the best way for them to get in contact or reach out to you? And if you want to state that, I will also put it in the show notes.
Okay, great. Yeah, you can reach me on Facebook, Karen Skarra, so that's Karen, and my last name Skarra, Skarra. And you can also reach me at my email, which is karenskarra@gmail.com, and KarenSkarra@gmail.com.
Perfect. And like I said, I'm 56, so I'll have to put that in the show notes because I would remember that. I won't remember that, but I should use the PQRST to remember that. Remember what you said. But we'll put show notes for people like me that needs a clickable link. We'll do that. Okay. Well, I got two questions before we let you go. What lessons have you learned during and this is kind of this might be a long answer. So sorry to drop the question at the end of the podcast, but what lessons, or even what lesson, just pick one lesson that you have learned during your journey with traumatic brain injury. Just what's probably the lesson that stands out to you?
Hmm, that's a good question. Ultimately, oh, being self-aware. Being self-aware is so important.
And you
And
mentioned patience earlier.
yeah, patience too. Like when you really get to know yourself when you're in isolation and you just like even during this pandemic, you probably have a lot to get to know yourself too. It's just basically sit down for a bit, even talk to yourself a little bit, and just kind of go back onto some things that might be trigger points, like I mentioned in the past. Is yeah, just really get to know yourself and what triggering certain things, and yeah, and as far as patience goes, yeah, just don't be so quick to get out of where you're going. Just kind of stick it out and just hope for the best. And even if things don't turn out the way you want, make it turn out the way you want by putting out positive energy and actually putting in the efforts to actually achieve your goals. Yeah.
Excellent. What my question is, how can people how can people change the way others treat people with did I type out that question?
I don't remember.
I think I typed it out and I'm like, wow, I must have been like drinking some like high octane coffee when I typed that out because that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, basically, I think where I was going with the last question is, what would you want people to know about the importance on how they treat people with mental illnesses or mental health challenges? What do you want to know about how they can impact or affect somebody with mental illness?
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I should answer that.
How important is that?
It's very important because the way you treat someone, like I just mentioned before, like giving someone a smile while you're walking past them on the road could literally mean, not to sound too dramatic about it, but like, because I'm just thinking back to days that I've honestly felt suicidal, and if someone just glared at me like I've known like some people have, it just really puts me in a tough spot. Just like, you know what, I am worthless, I am this, I am that, and it's really just not a healthy spot to be at. But when you have someone smile at you, you're like, okay, you know what, I'm hot shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. Like, yeah, you know what, I got this, and they see it
Right.
too. Yeah.
Exactly. We could all use a little more, imagine John Lennon or whatever. But but yeah, I totally get that. Um, I want to thank you. We're gonna wrap it up for today. We'll put your contact information in the show notes, and I want to thank you for being on the show. Um, like I said, for people listening to the podcast at Anchor FM, or the audio only, there will be on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to see the um, the program, the PQRST program, the reading comprehension program, the outline that Karen used herself to help strengthen her mind and recover from a traumatic brain injury from her dramatic car accident that she had to endure and that she went through. So you can check out the graphics over at YouTube. Plus, we have photos of the accident of the car, and you can see those over at the YouTube channel. So we're going to wrap it up. I do thank you for being on the podcast. Folks, we have been speaking with Karen Skarra, and she does have a traumatic brain injury. She has been recovering for many years. And I guess my final question is how many years ago, what year did the accident occur?
2013, August 10th.
2013. So wow, so that's
7 years.
7 years ago. Um, and it's still a major um, part of your life,
Oh, big time, yeah.
part of your thinking, part of your struggles, and so to the listeners and the viewers, sometimes life can happen to you, and um, it'll be embedded in our lives, and we'll probably have it with us forever. And so Karen is managing what happened. She has overcome the struggle. She is reaching out, wanting to help other people, and she's just a lady that wants to help others get through what she is getting through, and she's doing that at the same time that she's healing herself. So um, I just thanks so much. Great value. You provided, great insight and inspiration to the audience, the viewers and the listeners of the podcast. So thanks so much. Do you have any last? Do you have anything that you want to say right here at the end before we let you go?
I just want to say thank you. Yeah, like this whole opportunity to just be sharing my story. Like, thank you so much, Brad. I really, really appreciate it, and it's given me a lot of kind of hope. So yeah, basically, like what I'm getting out of this is that, you know what, sometimes when someone comes along and just gives you an opportunity, or even if you just look for opportunities yourself, you'll come across someone like Brad who will just really, I don't know, see the best in you, see I don't know, potential in your story, and just, yeah, someone, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure how to word that properly, but just keep looking up.
Yep. Keep looking up. Keep looking up. Um, you have my respect, my admiration. Um, my whole thing is loving our little selves, loving our little
Mhm.
our little me's, um, and my message in my speaking, in my mentoring, um, in this podcast is helping people love their little selves, because in my opinion, and I'm not a psychologist, thank goodness for that, but
Oh, jeez.
but in my opinion, our light and our subconscious is one and the same with our little person. So my subconscious and my light resides in little Brad. And little Brad will always be there. And he's grown up. He's 56. He's an adult. Um, but I walk with him each and every day. And so my message to the listeners and the viewers is your subconscious mind and your light is so powerful, and you can do amazing things if not only do you believe in yourself as an adult, but you believe in your little person and your little self. And you had to revisit your little self because you were put back into a position of really not knowing what you used to know, and you had to kind of restart. So, but that being said, it's an inspirational story. I want to thank you. You provided great information and inspiration to the podcast. So, folks, reach out to Karen.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
sure she's willing to help you with any questions that you may have. And we're going to wrap it up. So, this has been the Man at 50 podcast. We've been talking to Karen Skarra, and she is definitely a survivor of a traumatic brain injury and a devastating car accident. And now she is helping other people, and she wants to get the message out that the walking wounded are out there, and they need a smile and maybe a fist bump or an elbow tap. No hugs for right now with the COVID, but just treat everybody with love and respect, because you have
Yeah,
no idea
what's
what's in
someone's
their
going through.
heart and what's going on in their mind. And a smile can be the best medicine you can possibly give to anybody. So,
Of
um,
course.
thanks everybody. We are going to let Karen go. It's Sunday afternoon, so we'll let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. But thanks again. I appreciate you being on the podcast. And we're going to let everyone go. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you check out the website, bradrichard.net. We have some more updates. Check out our sponsors, Scars and Stripes Coffee and Peer Greens. Check them out. And for all the latest updates, check out bradrichard.net, the website. And don't forget to check out the YouTube channel so you can see the pictures of Karen's car, or what was left of her car. And you can check out the PQRST reading comprehension program that she is utilizing to help other people. So take care,
Thank you so much,
everyone.
Brad.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Karen, for being on the podcast. Until next time, this has been the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard. And like always, I end the podcast with love your little me and take care of yourself until next time. Bye for now. This has been the Man at 50 podcast. Please join us next week for another episode. And you can visit our website at outskirtspress.com/man at 50 the book.